All right, we did excellent on those quizzes over time, so very, very pleased with how the students in here did. Hopefully you did just as well as they did. We're going to take a look at our homework now. We've been working on mixed measures, and there was a little bit of mixed measure on that quiz, right? Adding and multiplying, and we're going to go over that. That was part of the homework. We also had subtracting mixed measures on the homework. Page 234 in your textbooks. Page 234, and you did numbers 61 to 69. Good catch. Good, good. Make sure we include the units with our answers there. Don't just write the numbers, write the units with them. Make sure we get in that habit so we don't accidentally mess that up later. Make sure we include the units with our answers. Don't just write the numbers. Good, good, good. Numbers by themselves have very little meaning. They need units to add meaning. Numbers 61 to 63. Those first three problems were adding mixed numbers, or adding mixed measures rather. And when we add mixed measures, the first step, class, is to just add. Don't make it hard. So 13 plus 9 plus 15 should have added together, class, to initially give us how many ounces? 37 ounces. And then we add all those pounds together. 57 pounds, 31 pounds, 44 pounds. That initially adds up to give us how many pounds, class? 132 pounds. How many initially had 132 pounds, 37 ounces? If not, it's just a careless addition error. Now, assuming you had this, though, we're not going to leave our answer in this format because we always simplify answers, and I've got way too many ounces. How many ounces does it take to make a pound, class? 16. And I've got way more than 16. How about to make 2 pounds? 32. I've got just a little more than that. So let's take away 32 of those ounces and turn those 32 ounces, class, into 2 pounds. We're going to add the 2 pounds to the 132 pounds to get, class? 134 pounds. And then if we take away those 32 ounces that we turned over, we're left with just 5 ounces. How many have that answer for number 61? Number 62, what did you get for your answer, Griffin? The final answer.
Final. 50 gallons and 3 quarts.
50 gallons, 3 quarts is correct. Initially 49 gallons, 7 quarts becomes 50 gallons, 3 quarts. How many have that answer for 62? Any questions on 62? Does anyone need to see it worked out? All right, and then number 63. That's a whole lot of yards there. What did you get for your final answer, Jalen?
My final answer is 71 miles, 514 yards.
Really close.
The first one she said was right, and the last one is 414 yards.
71 miles, 414 yards. 414. I bet you probably just had a little addition error there. Let's see. Trying to do this in my head here.
That's probably not a good idea.
Probably not. I'm going to go 2,174 yards. Did you initially have 2,174? So somehow when you subtracted 1,760, you got, instead of 414 yards, you got 514. So just a little subtraction error then. 71 miles, 414 yards is correct. Does anyone need to see 63 worked out? How many got that answer for 63? You were correct on 63. All right, going once on questions?
Oh.
Twice on questions? All right, let's take a look at number 64 through 66. We're multiplying, and our first step, class, is to just multiply. So we multiply 6 times 2 feet, class. 12 feet. We multiply 6 times 4 yards, class. 24 yards. But we don't leave our answer this way. We look at this and say, how many feet would it take to make a yard, class? 3. How many 3s do we have?
4.
4 different 3s. So I can convert this to 4 different yards. Any leftover feet?
No.
No. All 12 feet are needed to make these 4 yards. So I'm left with no feet to worry about. And I just add this together to get, class? 28 yards. How many had 28 yards for your answer on 64? Number 65, we again just multiplied, Ben. 5 times 6 ounces?
30 ounces.
I think I said Ben, didn't I?
Oh, I didn't even know you said
And Ben, that's what I say, that voice sounds strangely like Michael's. Ben, 5 times 9 pounds.
45.
45 pounds. But we're not going to leave our answer this way because we know, Ben, it takes how many ounces to make a pound?
16.
16. Do I have enough?
Yes.
Do I have enough for 2? How many would that be, class?
32.
No, not quite enough. So we're going to take away 16 of those ounces, turn it into 1 more pound. What was your final answer here, Ben?
46 and
46 what?
46 6 pounds.
Okay, you must have been one of the people I was telling to make sure you put your units in your answer, right? And how many ounces?
6.
We're subtracting 16 ounces away from 30 ounces.
Oh, 4. And 1.
So 14 ounces should have been our answer. 46 pounds, 14 ounces. How many had that for 65? All right, number 66. What was your final answer, Corey?
30 weeks, 60.
30 weeks, 6 days was correct. How many had that for number 66? Anybody need to see 66 worked out on the chalkboard? And then 67 to 69. I want to work all of these on the board for practice sake because it's the new thing we talked about last lesson. And when we say subtraction, of course, we just subtract, but can you always just subtract? No. If you're trying to take away, for instance, in this first problem, we're trying to take away 10 tablespoons, 2 teaspoons from 16 tablespoons, 1 teaspoon. And you can't take 2 teaspoons from 1 teaspoon. You also, class, cannot go the opposite direction. You must subtract down, but you can't do 1 minus 2. So, class, we have to borrow. We borrow from the 16, make it up.
15.
But we've got to be careful. Don't go putting a 1 in front of the other one, bless you. Instead, the 1 tablespoon we're borrowing, class, becomes how many teaspoons? 3. I add on 3 more to the 1, class, to get 4 teaspoons. Then we'll subtract to get what for our answer, Luciana?
5 tablespoons and 2 teaspoons.
That's an S. How many had 5 tablespoons, 2 teaspoons for your answer on 67? Number 68. Do I need to do any borrowing this time, class? No. This one actually works out great. I guess we'll skip the board here. Sam, what was your answer?
17 pounds and 6 ounces.
6 ounces. Oz is how it's spelled, but ounces. Good. 17 pounds, 6 ounces is correct. Or 17 lobes, 6 ozes. 16 ozes in a lobe. How many had 17 pounds, 6 ounces? Questions on 68. All right, number 69. Here, once again, class, we're going to have to borrow because you cannot subtract 14 fluid ounces from 10 fluid ounces. So we're going to borrow. We're going to take 1 of the pints away, class, so that we just have 4 pints. And that 1 pint becomes how many fluid ounces, Bryson? 16, because a pint's a pound the world around. If I add those 16 fluid ounces to the existing 10 fluid ounces, I now have 26 fluid ounces. And we can subtract 26 minus 14, class? 12 fluid ounces. And 4 minus 3, of course, class? 1 pint is how I'll leave our answer. How many had 1 pint? 12 fluid ounces for number 69. Questions on 69? Questions are on adding, subtracting, or multiplying mixed measures. Let's do a little bit of basic review. Turn back to page 2, or turn ahead to page 238, rather. Turn over to page 238. We're going to ignore the directions for this section. We'll talk about dimensional analysis a little bit later on this week. It's not going to be tested this year. Next year in 8th grade, you'll learn it in a little bit more depth. So I'm going to preview it for you this year. But I want you to do number 7 through 15. Just do it the normal way. If you're going from larger to smaller, multiply. Smaller to larger, divide. All right, so 7 through 15 on page 238. Do it in the normal way. more people already finished. That's really good. Just another minute or so to finish up. But for those who are just sitting there, you can look across the page and see if you can figure out how you would do one of the problems on the next page. We're going to look at that later in the week, so we're not going to go over it today, but if you want to try to see if you can figure out some of the problems on page 239 underneath the box, not in the box, but under the box, you could give that a shot whilst you wait. 30 seconds more for those who are still working on page 238. All right, pencils down. Let's take a look at our answers. Number 7, 7 yards. How many feet, Kirsten?
Okay, so I did that wrong.
Oh, well, let's not do it wrong. Let's do things right. 7 yards. What would I do to figure out how many feet?
36 times 7.
Well, not inches, feet. There's 36 of these inches in a yard, but how many feet in a yard?
1,000.
Yard, roughly a yard, right? It's a meter, but it's roughly a yard, a little longer than a yard. This is roughly a foot. How many of these go into one of those? 3. A yard is 3 feet, right? Now, the yard is bigger though, right? So I'm going from larger to smaller, multiply. So we're going to multiply by 3 to get 21 feet is what we should have done there. Number 8, 2 miles. How many yards, Michael?
3,520.
3,520 is correct. Class, what do we have to multiply by?
1,700.
1,760. Obviously the 2's there. The 1,760, how many yards are in a mile? Number 9, what did you get for your answer, Ben?
Number 9. 96.
96 inches. We multiply, class, by
12.
12. All of those going larger to smaller. We continue. On number 10, 3 miles. How many feet, Griffin?
15,840.
Good. 15,840, class. What do we have to multiply by?
5,280.
5,280 feet in the mile. For the next one, 4 yards. How many inches do we get here? Sam?
48.
How many inches in a yard? In a foot, there's 12. But in a yard, there's 36. I should have multiplied by 36 to get what, Jalen?
144.
144. Number 12, 6 yards. How many inches? Elaine?
216.
216 inches. Number 13, 72 inches. How many feet? Back to Sam for redemption, bless you. 6. Because now we're going from smaller to larger. We divide. 48 inches. How many feet, Bryson?
4.
And 27 feet. How many yards, Corey? 9 as we divide by the 3. Questions on those measures of length. All right, just a quick review there. All right, at your seats, if you would, maybe get out a blank piece of paper or somewhere in notes. You could, I guess, use the bottom of this page if you feel like there's room. I have just a couple more subtraction problems for you to practice with these mixed measures, and then we'll move into our last concept as far as your test is concerned coming up later this week. We're going to have quite a bit of review this week. So at your seats, 2 more review problems, subtracting mixed measures. assuming you're singing, right? You'll have an extra practice today. We're going to be practice with everybody. For your first chance to see how it all fits together. This way. No, because that's going to be in class. So sign language people won't necessarily. Yeah. You're still going to participate in the program, but you're going to work on more. That's going to be a separate thing that we'll introduce later into the practices. All right, let's take a look here. We have to borrow. How do I do it? Talk me through what we need to do, Bryson.
Basically, tell this as simple as I can be.
All right, I like that. I like simple. I'm a simple kind of guy.
Take the 5.
Yep.
You already changed that to a 4.
All right.
Alright, then you gotta take the
But
pound.
this feels like we lost a ton.
So you gotta add. So you gotta add.
What do I got to add?
You gotta add how much does a pound to, or a ton to a pound,
All right.
which is 2,000.
All right, so I got to add 2,000 to what?
730.
Oh, what do I get if I add 2,000 to 730?
2,730.
All right, so I got 2,730 pounds now?
Alright, then you gotta subtract.
We do got to subtract, you're right.
Alright, 0, 7, 2, 1. And then you subtract that 4 and that 2, turn it to a 2. And then you put the little things down there, tons and pounds. And that's how you get it.
Very good. How many have the same answer Bryson had on the first one? Questions on the first one? Question? No. Were you volunteering for the next one?
Sure.
Ben, take the next one. What do we need to do?
You need to cross out the 9 and put
Well,
an 8.
let's talk in a manly voice, shall we?
You cross out the 9,
We
put
do.
an 8,
Yeah, absolutely.
and then you add 4 to the 2 and make it 6,
Excellent.
and then subtract it.
We do. What do we get?
3, 4 bushels and 3 pecks.
4 bushels, 3 pecks is correct. How many others got the same then answer? Okay. Questions on this? Questions on this? All right, questions on subtracting mixed measures. All right, we've talked about adding, we talked about multiplying, we talked about subtracting. Class, that leaves us with division of mixed measures. Flip over to page 231. Flip back to page 231. Let's talk about dividing mixed measures. And of course, just like when we multiplied, we didn't actually multiply a mixed measure by another mixed measure. We multiplied a mixed measure by a constant value. The same thing is going to be true with division. We're going to divide by some constant numerical value. And for the most part, in theory, you just divide. Look at the little blue shaded box at the very top of page 231. They gave you 10 yards, 15 inches, and they were dividing by 5. Make sure you're looking at it with me. All right, so they said, well, let's start by dividing 10 yards by 5. And notice what they got, class. 10 yards divided by 5. Class, 2 yards. Hold on, no, we're not there yet. No, you're not listening. You're not listening. Make sure you listen and listen to what I'm actually asking. When they divided the 10 yards by 5, class, they got 2 yards. Even. Right? No remainder. They went ahead and showed that if you subtracted 10 yards, there's no yards left. So then they took the inches. 15 inches divided by 5, class. They got 3 inches. It divided evenly. And in a perfect world, this is how you divide mixed measures. But you know as well as I do, it's not always a perfect world, right? So look at the next example. And I'm going to go ahead and show it on the board, bless you, as they showed it there in the book. You can look either place, though I think it might be better for you if you look up this way. This time it's 12 yards, 13 inches being divided by 5. Well, class, 5 still goes into 12 how many times?
2 times.
2 times. That's 2 yards. But where this was a 10 before, that came out evenly. It no longer comes out evenly, class. We've got leftovers. How much leftovers? 2 yards of leftovers. We'll not make references to Thanksgiving dinner. And there's still all these inches available as well, correct? But the 2 yards, whatever remainder you've got when you divide the larger unit, it's got to convert into the smaller unit. I've got 2 leftover yards, but that's not enough to divide again, is it? We've got to turn it into inches. Class, how many inches in 1 yard?
36.
36, but I've got 2 yards. 2 times 36? 72. So you look in the book, notice how they added 72 inches to the 13 inches they already had. Does that make sense? The leftover yards, the leftover of the larger unit needs to convert to the smaller unit and then add it to whatever you already had. I already had 13 inches. Add 72 more inches, class. I now have how many inches? 85 inches. And we see that's what they did in the text as well, correct? Now I can divide. 5 goes into 85. I don't have that one memorized, do I? Well, how many times 5 go into 8?
Once.
Once, with how many left over?
3.
And 5 goes into 35?
7.
7 times. And that's going to be evenly, so we get 2 yards, 17 inches. Do you see how they did what they did in the blue shaded box, the example problem? You have to turn on your brain, even though it's a Monday, in order to understand this. You can't just be like, okay, we got to turn the brain on. Let's try this one. Write this down on a separate sheet of paper, if you would, please. Get out a separate sheet of paper. Write this down. 20 years, 3 months divided by 3. Resist the temptation to say, ooh, 3 goes into 3 once, so I already know there's 1 month. No. You have to start by dividing the larger unit. Start with the larger unit. How many times does 3 go into 6, Corey? No, try it again. How many times does 3 go into 20, Corey?
5. Wait. 6.
6. That's why I said 6 a second ago. My brain was already thinking of the answer. 3 goes into 26 times, so that's 6 years. Does everyone see that? Now, does it go in evenly, foot down, Luciana? No, because 6 times 3, class, is only how many years?
18.
18 years. Once again, I have leftovers. How much leftovers here, Corey? 2 years. What do I have to do with my leftovers, class? Turn them into the smaller unit. Okay, Thanksgiving leftovers, they turn into casseroles. At least in my house, they always did. My mom could turn anything into a casserole. Shout out to mom. All right, so anyway, well, casseroles aren't always disgusting. I mean, every now and then, she made a corn casserole. She made a corn casserole one
Sweet
time.
potato.
And we still joke about it too. She only made it once. But anyway, so 2 years. We turn the leftovers into the smaller unit. Class, what do we do with the leftovers?
Turn it into a smaller unit.
So we're going to turn those 2 years. How many months does the 2 years become, Ben?
24.
24 months. But, class, we already had 3 months. We now also have 24 months. So we're going to take the newly converted leftovers and all the little unit we already had, and they all get, class,
27.
added together to get
27.
months. Now we finish the division. 27 divided by 3, Ben, gives us 9 months. And we already know that's going to come out evenly when we subtract, and there's our 6 years, 9 months. How many worked ahead and got 6 years, 9 months already? Are there any questions on this? Do we feel like we got a decent handle on this? Question, Jalen? Oh, that was a hand, you got it, all right. Write this one down. 11 yards, 4 inches. And let's divide that by 5. 11 yards, 4 inches. Let's divide that by 5. And Kirsten, what do we do first?
Get 10. 10 minus 11.
Well, we're trying to divide, so we would ask ourselves, how many times does
5 go into 11.
How many times does 5 go into 11?
2.
2. So up here we put 2 yards. But 2 yards times 5 is only
10.
10 yards. Which means we get what here, Kirsten, when we subtract?
1.
1 yard's worth of leftovers. All right? Earlier we had 2 years' worth of leftovers. Feels that way after Thanksgiving sometimes, doesn't it? How many excited about Thanksgiving? I know we're still a few weeks away. I love Thanksgiving. It's my favorite holiday. Anyway, even more than Christmas. Because I'm not, see, my sports plays into it, and I love football. And there's football on Thanksgiving. Christmas is basketball. I'm not a huge NBA guy, partly because my team's the Pacers, and I mean, if you were a Pacers fan, you wouldn't be a big NBA guy either. So anyway. Hey, we won our season opener, though. All right, anyway, I digress. It's our only, no. I think we're going to be okay. We're not going to be like, top of the Eastern Conference or anything. We're not going to the finals, but I think we'll make the playoffs this year.
I like Christmas.
It's been a few years since
I
we've
like
done it.
Thanksgiving for the food.
And the food is amazing. I love the food. I also love that, there's not like, Christmas, like you feel obligated to buy presents for people. There's some people you just want to buy presents for, you love doing it. But then there's other people, it's like, oh yeah, we got this relative and that relative and long lost, nephew, sister's cousin. And it's like, see, with Thanksgiving, it's just, you just enjoy the holiday. You just enjoy, you be thankful for everything instead of like, what did I get or what do I have to get for so-and-so? Anyway, that's a really materialistic approach, I guess. Anyway, I like that there's no materialism with Thanksgiving, right? It's just be thankful, right? Be thankful for what God's blessed you with. Anyway, I digress. And there's football. I love football. All right, so we got a yard's worth of leftovers. What do I do with the leftovers, Sam?
You convert it
Into, in this case,
36 inches.
there we go. Now, is that how many inches I've got? Do I have 36 inches, class?
No.
Do I really have how much, Elaine?
40 inches.
40 inches. We're going to take the converted leftovers plus the old stuff we have. That's what we have now. And now that we've got our total, now we can do what with it, Jalen?
Divide.
Divide it by the 5 now. So we divide the first unit by the 5, that's easy. The last unit has to now be divided by the 5 to get 8 inches. And of course we know that's going to come out evenly. I don't necessarily care if you take the time to put it down here. You don't have to, as long as you got the answer up there. All right, we feel like we're getting, how many had this answer before I finished? All right, questions on this one? Write this one down, because what about metric, right? Let's suppose we had 8 kilograms and a hectogram, and we wanted to divide it by 3. 8 kilograms and a hectogram, and we wanted to divide it by 3. Well, metric works the same way, because if you'll remember, class, that there's what difference between each of the metric prefixes? There's a difference of 10, right? 10 hectograms in the kilogram, 10 decagrams in the hectogram, 10 grams in the decagram, and so forth, right? So, we start the way we always would. We just start, Bryson, by dividing
3 and 8.
3 into 8 to get
2.
2. But of course, that's really only how many kilograms so far?
6.
6, and we have how many leftovers?
2.
2 kilograms of leftovers. What do I do with the 2 kilograms here? Griffin?
Convert them into hectograms.
Convert them into hectograms. How many hectograms?
20 hectograms.
20. You just go boink one time, right? So 20 hectograms. But really, how many hectograms I got, class?
21.
21 hectograms. And now that I've got the total hectograms down there, now we can do what, Michael?
Divide.
Divide it by the
The dividend?
the 3, the divisor. This is part of the dividend. Divided by the 3 to get
7.
7
Hectograms.
hectograms. And we know it's going to work out evenly, so we're going to be lazy and not write it down. Doing page 233, numbers 35 to 45, the odd. Some of these are going to be really easy and work out really nice. Some of them are going to be more like what we showed on the board a moment ago, where you have to convert over the leftovers. Bless you. Elaine and the board did the first one. Luciana, take the second one. Michael finished with all the odds.
All the odds.
Up to 45, 35, 45 odds. Okay, take the third one. Jalen finished. Last one of the board. Those who are finished, once you see the answers going up on the board, check and see how you did. Choose an eraser and fix that Y. Now over there, Jalen, you said 75 divided by 5 was 15. Oh, the smudges. Alright, it's okay, just leave it. It's fine. Alright, pencils down. Even if you're not finished with all of these yet, let's take a look at the students' work. And on the first one, number 35, I didn't have you put it at the board because there's really no borrowing needed, class. 4 pounds divided by 2? 2 pounds. And 8 ounces divided by 2? 4 ounces. So 2 pounds, 4 ounces. Easy. How many have that for 35? Number 37, also easy. 50 tons divided by 10, class. 5 tons. 80 pounds divided by 10, class.
8 pounds.
8 pounds. 5 tons, 8 pounds. Really easy. Number 39 was Elaine's problem. She said, well, 3 goes into 22 7 times. That's 7 feet. But there's still 1 foot left over. That 1 foot became 12 more inches to get her up to 21 inches. 21 divided by 3 is 7. So she got 7 feet, 7 inches. How many have the same answer on 39? On number 41, this one was Luciana's problem. She said 5 goes into 16 3 times with 1 tablespoon left over. That 1 tablespoon became 3 additional teaspoons to get her up to 5 teaspoons. 5 goes into 5 1 time. So there's our answer, 3 tablespoons and a teaspoon. How many have 3 tablespoons? Or tablespoons, 1 teaspoon for the answer. Questions on that one? Look at the next one. This one was Michael's problem. Michael said 4 goes into 9 twice. That's 2 yards. That's 8 yards subtracted, leaves 1 yard. He converted that to 36 more inches. Add that to the 12 inches, that got him to 48 inches. He divided that by the 4 to get 12 inches. Could he have said 2 yards, 1 foot? Why bother? 2 yards, 12 inches. And how many had 2 yards, 12 inches on 43? Questions on 43? Ben, question? Not raising your hand. Question? Comment? Feedback? Work quickly, remember. All right, if you have trouble, you can raise your hand and I'll get some help. And then here over, we got the 7 yards, 3 inches divided by 5. And Jalen said 5 goes into 7 once. 2 leftover yards became 72 inches. She added that to the 3 inches to get 75 inches, then divided that by the 5. Showed her division off to the side. That gave her 15 inches. How many had 1 yard, 15 inches on number 45? Questions on that? Question, Kirsten? No. All right. I want you to do the evens now, 36 to 46. Go through now, do 36 to 46, the even numbered problems. 36 to 46, the evens. They like 7. Bryson take the first one. On the board, let me have Kirsten take the second one on the board. Sam take the third one on the board. And Corey take the last one on the front board. If you're finished, tackle the 2 word problems, 47, 48. If you're already finished, tackle the 2 word problems. Finish, tackle the word problems. If you're not quite finished just yet, oh, good call. If you're not quite finished just yet, finish up the other problems.
What were we supposed to do after we did that?
Well, how many chords are in a peck? 4 pecks are in a bushel, but a peck has 8 chords in it. Go back and finish. Make sure you get all those evens finished up, bless you, there in your book. Get all the evens finished up. Yes, sir. Sorry. Where's the work on here? Don't just throw out numbers. How many times is 7 going to 18? 2. So write 2 pounds. Now what's 2 times 7? So subtract it. How many leftovers? 4. Now convert that into ounces. We can do that off to the side, right? 6 times 4. So that's 64 ounces. Well, we already had 6 ounces, right? And now we're adding 64 more. How many ounces do we really have now? And now we divide that by the 7. Let's show that work. Show that work. How many finished with all the evens? Finish with all the evens. Let's take a look at those evens together. Number 36. No borrowing needed or converting over needed. It's just divide straight up. 28 hours divided by 7, 21 minutes divided by 7. Ben, what do we get for 36?
36. 4 hours and 21 minutes.
Well, the 21 has to divide by 7 also.
Oh, and 3 minutes.
3 minutes. There we go. 4 hours, 3 minutes. I'm going to come back to you, Ben, on number 38, because we can divide straight up here as well. 49 tablespoons, 7 teaspoons when we divide by 7 gives us?
8 tablespoons.
Oh, 49 divided by 7?
7 teaspoons.
Tablespoons.
Tablespoons. And
7 divided by 7?
1 teaspoon.
There we go, 7 tablespoons, 1 teaspoon. That just divides straight up. But class, when we come to number 40, let's see, whose was this first one? Bryson? When we get to this one, 7 goes into 12 once. So 1 gallon. But there's 5 leftover gallons here. We need to turn those 5 gallons into 20 quarts. Add the 20 quarts to the existing quart that was already there, gives us 21 quarts. Now we can divide by 7 to get 3 quarts. How many had 1 gallon, 3 quarts for number 40? Questions on that one? Look at the next one. Kirsten's problem. So Kirsten said 7 goes in 18 2 times. So that's 2 pounds. But it leaves us with 4 leftover pounds. She multiplied the 4 by 16 to get 64 additional ounces plus the 6 ounces. gave her 70 ounces. 70 divided by 7 gives her 10 ounces. How many had 2 pounds, 10 ounces on 42? On number 44, this was Sam's problem. Sam said, well, 7 goes in 15 2 times. That's 2 pecks, excuse me. And he said, well, that's only 14 pecks. That's still 1 leftover peck. Well, we convert that 1 peck over to 8 quarts. He originally had 4 and then realized, that's 8. Okay, 4 quarts in a gallon, 8 pecks, or quarts in the peck. He added the 8 quarts to the existing 16 quarts to get 14 quarts. He said, well, 14 divided by 7, that's just 2 quarts. So 2 pecks, 2 quarts was his answer. How many had 2 pecks, 2 quarts for number 44? Questions on 44? All right, and then number 46 was Corey's problem. Corey said, well, 4 goes into 25 pounds 6 times, so 6 pounds. 1 leftover pound became 16 more ounces, plus the 4 ounces we already had gave him 20 ounces. 20 ounces divided by 4 gave him 5 ounces. So 6 pounds, 5 ounces was his answer. How many also had 6 pounds, 5 ounces on number 46? Questions on that one? And then we get all the evens correct. All right, several of you. Anyone just missed one? All right, a couple of you there. Questions on dividing by a constant. Look at number 47. Read that for us if you would. Let's see. Who did not? Griffin. You did not get to go to the board, did you? Griffin, read number 47 for us.
How do you say that name?
Corrine, I'm guessing.
Corrine has 15 yards, 9 inches of material. She plans on making 3 identical dresses. How many yards and inches does she have for each dress?
All right. So we know the total amount of cloth or material she has. We know she wants to make 3 dresses with it. Class, what should we do to find out how much material is needed for each dress?
Divide.
Just divide. Can we divide 15 by 3?
Yes.
Can we also divide 9 by 3?
Yes.
So is there going to be any weird conversion necessary?
No.
We just do it in our head here practically. And what do we get, Griffin?
5 yards, 3 inches.
5 yards, 3 inches. How many have that already in your head? Good. Now the next one, not so much. Read number 48 for us, if you would, Jalen.
6 babies were born at the rural hospital on Tuesday. The total weight of the babies was 46 pounds, 8 ounces. Find the average weight of the babies in pounds and ounces.
So they give us the total weight, and they want the average weight of each of the 6 babies. What do we have to do, class? Divide. But can I divide 46 pounds evenly by 6, class?
No.
No, which means there's going to be some leftovers to join the 8 ounces. How many times does 6 go into 46, class?
7.
7. So that's 7 pounds, but how many pounds total is that so far, class?
42.
Only 42. How many leftover pounds we got now?
4.
4 leftover pounds, which need to be converted into how many ounces?
No, 16 ounces.
16 ounces in each pound. I got 4 pounds.
64.
64 additional ounces now. Plus, I already had 8 ounces up here, right? So how many total ounces is that? 72 ounces. Now that I've got the total combined ounces, now I can divide it by the 6. 6 goes into 72. 12 times, right? Because 12 times 6 is 72. And so we get an average weight of baby of 7 pounds, 12 ounces. How many already had that? Several of you I know had worked a little bit ahead there. Questions on those word problems? All right, your homework for this evening is to do page 235, numbers 14 to 29. Page 235 to numbers 14 through 29. We are looking at a test coming up in lesson 59. That's on Friday. Page 235, numbers 14 to 29.